In general, I find that Jewish law has gotten more strict over time. There are all kinds of practices you see, if you look back in Talmudic times, that they were not as strict about as we are today. And it seems like we're on a trajectory of getting more and more strict over time. But in one area, we see it's very, very much not the case. And that seems to be the case with images, with molten images. These days, it's very common to have statues, to have tile, to have paintings of people. But back in the day, in Talmudic times and biblical times, you saw that the Jews were very strict about not having images. These images were really meant to represent idols, and we didn't want to have images of people and have them possibly confused with idols. So you find, in archaeology, you find when you see a site and you see there's no faces, there's no people on anything, well, that's often an indication this was a Jewish site because the Jews are very strict in this regard. But how strict? What was the appropriate area? And on Daf 104 of Pesachim, we get a story of somebody who's so strict in this regard that even with coins, he wouldn't look upon the faces. People don't usually think about coins as acts of idolatry. I was thinking about, my pennies in America with Abraham Lincoln on them, the quarters with George Washington. Are these acts of idolatry? I'd say no, and it seems the modern world has become much, much more lenient about these things. It's very common to go into Jewish homes and see all kinds of pictures and even sculptures and such, and we don't seem to be so strict about that. We've really moved away from this, but in those times, there's much more strict, even to the point that this one rabbi would avoid coins and the faces and even looking upon them.